this week, the tabloids as well as the mainstream media began speculating about troubled NBA star Lamar Odom, saying that he had entered rehab to address the addiction issues that nearly took his life last October. Lamar is in a drug and alcohol treatment center. In fact, Lamar sat down with me right before he left.
What was your last memory before waking up in the hospital?
Being at damn brothel and thinking I was going to just rest a little bit.
So you remember that night?
I wasn't in a good place mentally, especially mentally before that incident happened. You know, me and my wife at the time were going through some things. And I was in a dark place. So I guess, you know, they say everything happens for a reason. So I guess the reason is I'm here. I can tell a story.
Do you feel like in your own situation that there's a reason why you're still alive?
I didn't know until Chloe had told me that I was in a coma. I couldn't even speak at the time. I couldn't talk. And nothing would come out when I would open my mouth, so I was scared.
There have been reports that even since what happened to you last October, that you've still been using substances. Is that true or false?
So that was some of the interview I had with Lamar. We're obviously first and foremost committed to his recovery. We're going to air that full interview after he completes treatment because, you know, Lamar hadn't talked to anyone since all of this had happened. And that was from a number of weeks ago, purposefully kept it under wraps because obviously the number one goal was to get Lamar into recovery, into the treatment center, and get him well.
How was that for you, getting up close and personal with him, having been in a coma all those months? As a doctor, seeing him, I mean, how was his overall health and mental status? And
surprisingly clear-headed and very, very open with the demons that he's battled. And he's a human being first. I think sometimes we forget that because he's reached such celebrity status, whether it be on the court or as a part of his reality series. And you can tell that he's just a man trying to find his way.
I mean, you got to know him a little bit. I understand he's a nice man. I've never met him.
Incredibly nice person.
Well, that's what we hear. And, you know, it speaks to the fact that he chose our show to grant this interview. And I think that speaks to the point that he's taking this seriously, that he doesn't want to make this a media circus. He's acknowledging he has a medical problem and wants to address it with us. And I'm impressed with that.
Here's what's happening, and this is speculation. This is what people in the media do. That's why I'm actually really happy I had the chance to sit down with Lamar. I know now what was going on. Look, the only reason we're even acknowledging I had that interview is because it was leaked to the press. We were going to hold that interview, and we're still going to hold the rest of it until he completes his treatment. There's one goal right now. The one goal is Lamar to get through his recovery. When he is done, when he is out of rehab, we will have him back on the show. You'll see his full interview before he went into rehab. We're going to talk to him about how rehab was because that's all that matters right now. And you know, it's going to take time. He's not going to be out of rehab next week. This is going to take time.
My question to you is, given that failure rate is so high and that he has bounced back and forth, I mean, does he seem committed? Does he seem to be in a better place?
He seems very committed. And again, in that interview, I had one goal. And that one goal was to make sure he got in the car and went to rehab. That's your only goal. You don't try to go anywhere but forward. And I will say he's not only committed, but no one was forcing him to go. Yeah. He, of his own accord, with a clear mind, I might add, decided that this is what he needed to do to recover his life. And also the one thing, again, I will say is he was very open and honest about these demons he's been dealing with. We will air that full interview, again, once he's out of treatment.